Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome once again to the Kettleson Cooking Show. How are you today? Today we are going to do green beans and shallots. It's a fun one. It's a really fun one. For those of you who don't know, this is a shallot. It's a kind of a cousin to an onion, but it has a softer taste. So a lot of people do love it. And of course we are going to do green beans, and how we're going to do the green beans is we're going to blanch them. Blanching is a very easy method to learn. It's a wonderful method, especially to cook green vegetables in. So we got that going. So I have my Tefal pans here. What I've done is I've just put about 6 cups of water into a pot, and I've gotten that started. We're going to get that to a high boil. Now this is an important thing. When you blanch something, what you're going to do is you're going to put the green vegetables in, you're going to cook it, and then you're going to take it out and let it cool. Actually, what you're going to stop the cooking process. So we're going to put it under the faucet right here, and then we're going to put it and we're going to saute it in some shallots and butter with a little bit of olive oil. But it should be a lot of fun. So let's first talk about green beans. You can do this recipe with green beans, fresh green beans, which I recommend, or you can use the can. It really doesn't matter. If you just have a can of green beans, this same recipe works for both. I know that the green beans are great in the kitchen for a couple of things. First and foremost, you can get kids involved in them. Because what we have to do is we have to get the green beans in a manageable form for people to eat on their fork. So what we do is this. We cut them, we pop the 2 ends off, and then we take the top off. We cut them in half. So the top, the bottom comes off, and then we put them in half. Now, if you're in a kitchen sometimes, people will really look for precision. So what they'll do is they'll go like this, and they'll cut the top and the bottom off, and then they'll cut the exact length so that they have the exact measurements of green beans. But if you're around the house, especially if you want your kids to get involved, I mean, this is a great activity for them. They can sit here and they can pop the green beans while you're doing something else. This has been an interesting week. My little daughter, my oldest daughter is done with college. She graduated. We're so proud of her. She's got her job and she's off into the big world. My middle daughter is thinking about what college she's going to go to. She's currently a junior. And that's put some interesting stress on her little sister, who is in 6th grade. And she's been thinking a lot about it. So she wrote her little sister wrote her a poem, and I will tell you this: I was crying my eyes out. It was absolutely gorgeous. I'm gonna have it. I told her, I said, listen, write that out, and I will frame that because it is beautiful. It really talks about her being not only her sister and how they fight sometimes, but she's really her best friend. I can't tell you how happy I was to hear that. Kids will make your life, right? I mean, they do add a ton to your life. They're a lot of work. Don't kid yourself. I mean, you work hard with these kids. I mean, but they do add a lot to your life. This particular recipe, I kind of want to put up here for a couple reasons. I did this at our family Thanksgiving. We did a social distance Thanksgiving where my brother and I met up. His family and my girls and I met up, and we got a cabin way up in the woods, and it was just the 6 of us, 7 of us. But anyways, my nephew, who doesn't eat a ton of vegetables, my girls, they'll eat anything. They love vegetables, but my nephew, who doesn't eat a ton of vegetables, the one vegetable he eats is green beans. So what I told him was that I was going to put one of these up here for him so that everybody could see how I made the green beans that he loves so much. Also, I did this at we of course have a Friendsgiving in our neighborhood. I live, it's like a commune. There's about 4 of the 5 houses here. So we set the tents up outside, to really kind of, participate and be as social distance, but still kind of get together and tell each other we love each other. So we had a little friends Thanksgiving outside, and I did these there, and I got some really nice remarks. The one thing that got a ton more remarks though was was a sweet potato pie. We're going to have that on an upcoming episode that one of my neighbors did. I mean, literally, they did that. That sweet potato pie was excellent, had pecans in it. But for those of you who don't love a ton of vegetables, these green beans are just about perfect for you. I mean, realistically, they're easy. Whether you do them in the can or you do them in like this, they're very, very good for you, and it's kind of fun to cook them, especially when you blanch them like you do. So don't be afraid of this. Now, if you do use the can, remember to, when you open up the can, to drain out all the water in the can, because you don't want to put any of that water when you're going to saute it. And remember, those green beans, of course, are cooked in the can, so you do not have to blanch those green beans. All right, so I got, what do you think here? I think I'll do a couple more, huh? I got a big shallot over there. Shallots are interesting because they impress people. Now, you can usually get shallots at just about every grocery store in the country. If you can't get shallots, you can order them online. You know, on this show, I try to make sure that you can get and use everything, because I hate when I watch a cooking show and I can't get, you know, the ingredients that they're using, or the ingredients are foreign. We try to really, you know, use ingredients that are common to most people. The other thing we try to really do is just to do the basics. And I show you how much I screw up different dishes that I do around the house. But we talk about the basics. And one of the basics is blanching. So with potatoes or something like a starchy substance, you know, what we really want to do with a potato is cook it so that the outside and the inside are done at the same time. And that's why with a potato, we don't start with boiling water. We start with room temperature water, we put the potatoes in, and then we bring them to a boil. And when they do that, then they actually will cook at a uniform temperature, and you will get a uniform output. But for vegetables like green beans or carrot, well, carrots you can do either one, but green beans, what else could you do like this? Asparagus is perfect for blanching, right? What we want to do is we want to get the rawness out of it, but we want to cook it to a point where it's still a bit crunchy, but you just can't taste, it tastes like it's cooked. You can't taste any of the raw of the vegetable. I actually did this with Brussels sprouts the other day, and you know, they were fabulous. I really enjoyed those. That's my daughter, my youngest daughter, calling me right now. She's got something to tell me. You know, we're a texting family. I'm going to let her go to voicemail until we finish the show. A lot of fun going on right now. We're trying to keep everything as consistent as possible. I know that we're, you know, trying to wear our masks. We're trying to really stop this because I think, just like everybody else, we're about done. You know, we really need to kick the COVID bug in the butt and get it out of the whole world. But my daughters and I are looking forward to at least having Christmas together. No, we can't get the whole family together, of course, but at least we can do a Zoom call and say hello to everybody. You know, there's some good things and bad things. One of the bad things is I'm not the biggest online shopper in the world. I bought the gifts for Christmas yesterday online. Not the biggest online shopper. I do kind of like to go to the store and, you know, buy things at the store. I like to pick out, see what I have, think, okay, this is for my niece, this is for my nephew, this is for my daughter. So it's interesting to buy things online. And of course, we used to go downtown every year, which we can't do, and you know, like make a day of it. Like Christmas shopping, I give the girls $100 or something, and then they have to buy everybody that they have to buy their mom, they have to buy their grandparents, they have to buy everybody their gifts, which is a really good thing from a financial aspect because it tries to help them understand that they have a limited resource. And, you know, I think it does a lot of good for them too, because they really see, you know, okay, I have to budget my money. I have to think, okay, I have $100. I have all these people I need to buy gifts for. What am I going to get them, and what am I going to do? So from a financial aspect, I really do encourage people to really start thinking about it. How can they use things like that to help their kids learn more about money? Alright, that's good enough. But as you can see, just about anybody can do this. This is a great exercise for your kids to get them to crack the green beans. And the only thing you do want to kind of check is to make sure that there's not any long strings. I see a long string right here. Not that it make any difference really, but sometimes if it's a real hard long string, you will taste it, so I'll rip that out. This is the last one. Okay, so we got our green beans. Now, if we're going to blanch them, what we're going to do is we're going to take them. This water is boiling vigorously. When they say vigorously, there's a lot of bubbles. A lot of bubbles. We take the green beans and we just put them right in the vigorously boiling water. Now once again, we do not want to cook them through till they're really soft. We want to keep them a little bit crunchy. They're going to turn a nice bright green color. When you see that bright green color, that's the opportunity to take them out and get them started underneath. Stop the cooking process is what they call it. But all you have to do really for that is to put them under warm water, or lukewarm water, or you can even use cold water. Just put them under water to stop that cooking process. Alright, now we're going to get to the shallot. Like I said, it's a cousin of the onion. People get really impressed by it. I do like the flavor because unlike an onion, it is a little bit less powerful. It's got like a mellower taste. I guess that's how I would describe it. But you cut it the same way. You cut the top off, and then you cut it right down the middle. You want to cut right in between on that on the root part of it, because what you want to do is you're going to use that to dice it. And now you're going to peel this outside layer off. That's not good to eat, by the way. So it looks pretty much just like a red onion. It's a little bit smaller, and sometimes there's two halves to it, but they're very, very nice. So what we're going to do is, same way with an onion, we're going to take our knife, put our hand right over the top, and we're going to cut right towards that root, but we're not going to go all the way to the root. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come down. 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to do is chop. And what you're going to end up with are these nice uniform pieces like this that are going to break up in the saucepan. So once again, hand on the top. We got our nice firm cutting board set up. It's not moving around because we've got a wet rag underneath it. Hand over the top. We're going to slice. I'm going to do 2 here. We're not going to go all the way to the root though, because we want to make sure that we have that binding so that we can cut it. We're going to chop down, and then we're going to chop across. And you're always going to end up with this little root piece. You can just take that and throw that in the dish disposal. Okay, I got my green beans going. They're looking good. They're going to need a minute or so more. But they look good. So what I want to do right now is I'm going to get a little olive oil out. I'm going to get a little bit of salt out. Now, I like butter. For those of you who know, I had a bit of a heart attack. I had a heart attack. So, I'm a little bit cautiouser now than I was with butter, but still, I mean, butter, a little bit of butter is not going to, you got to make sure you take everything in moderation. But it adds so much flavor. I mean, it adds a depth of what it does really is add fat to the dish. And remember, I mean, fat is just wonderful for taste. It adds that mouthfeel, which is fantastic. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take my olive oil and I'm going to pour, I would say a good tablespoon. Now I'm going to take my butter. I got about a half a tablespoon. I'm just going to throw that in there. I'm going to let that go. At this point, I do like to add a little bit of salt. I'm going to add the salt at the end as well. I have my green beans. Do you see how they're nice and green? The greenness really brightened up. I know they're coming. It needs about 30 more seconds. And while that's going, I'm going to get ready for my onion, my shallot. Okay, this is nice and hot. I have my temperature on my saute pan around 5 on mine, which is halfway. You can even bring it down to 3 if you want to go a little bit slower. You can see that how fast that butter melted. Now I'm going to take my shallot and I'm going to put it in there. Now what's important is to have a little bit of salt in there because you want to sweat this shallot. Once again, you don't want the mouthfeel, so when the customer or you know your guests or your family bite into it, you don't want them to really have that crunch of the shallot. You want the shallot to be soft. So you want a little bit of salt along with that butter and olive oil. Those shallots look really good. Now my green beans are done. Do you see how they have a nice brightness? I hope that picks it up on camera. I'm going to pour them right in here, and once again we're going to slow that cooking process down by spraying water over the top of them. Because we do not, the key to this dish is not having soft green beans. We want them nice and crunchy. We want them to taste good. So we got that. Okay, they look good. I'm going to let my shallots go for another couple seconds here. Ooh, you got away. Get back in there. And I'm going to start thinking about plating this dish. Now normally what I would do is I would use a serving tray. And I would do a lot more of them, but for this dish I think I can get them in that. If you're doing this at home, of course, and you're cooking for a family, a larger size family, you're going to want to do the full bag of green beans. You see I just had a little bit of green beans. And then you could use 2 shallots instead of 1, as well as a little more butter, a little more olive oil. But you know, this is a perfect side dish. It's quick, it's easy to do, and you know, this will literally go with just about anything. So once I get my green beans drained, I'm going to put them right in with those shallots, and I'm going to let them get as much of that oil, that shallot flavor. I'm going to put a dash of salt in there, and then I'm just going to continue to do it. Now some people talk about, hey, why do you flip it? It's obviously a nervous habit for me. It's something that I do a lot, but you don't have to do that. You can simply mix it with your spoon like this. You're just trying to mix up everything. There are hot and cold spots on the pan, so you do want to kind of just make sure that the stuff is moving. But ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much all there is to making green beans and shallots. And the nice thing about this dish is if you are going to a party or you are trying to make a nicer appearance, you know, or really kind of impress people, this is a simple, easy dish, and I guarantee you're going to blow people away with it. Especially when you say, oh, I brought green beans and shallots. And a lot of people don't obviously know that, you know, it's easy to cook shallots. They're just a cousin of the onion, and green beans, of course, are really easy. Another couple of things you can do, I'm going to turn the heat off and just kind of mix it. Of course, you can use garlic in this, which is a nice little twist to it. As well as if you want to add a bolder flavor, you can do some fresh ginger in this. You would do it the exact same way, except what you would do is once you got that butter and oil a little bit hot, you would add that ginger, let that ginger cook in with the shallots or without the shallots, or with the garlic or without the garlic. But ginger does a really nice job with these green beans. Alright, we got that ready to go. We're going to put this in this dish here. And they look really good. I'm going to make sure I got that turned off. And you have a wonderful little side dish that you can do for your family in just a couple of minutes, or you can do for a larger group and bring to a function. But wonderful for you guys to really learn how to blanch something, because you can take this and use this on so many other things. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching. I just want to I wish everybody, I'm praying for everybody, I hope to God that you know, you try to do the same things that I always try to get myself to do, which is to try to love people. And we always talk about it in our house, but it's so hard to love the people that are closest to you. So I think the biggest challenge right now is just to make sure that you're doing the best you possibly can to love and to try to care for people that are you know, really close to you, that you might have gotten to know really well over the past year. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed making green beans and shallots with me. And thank you. Have a wonderful day.